Hello, my name is Zachary Lindsay, and this is my fourth blog post for the Akron Experience Emerging Leaders class at the University of Akron. And today we have officially finished the Student Leadership Challenge book. And so today's blog post really talks about, after all of the leadership principles, kind of talking about the one that is the most important to establish and the one that is the hardest to develop as a leader. And of course, I'm talking about the practices. So the first one, the most important to develop as a leader, I'm going to go with model the way. And the reason is this specific practice helps you outline the future and map out where your organization is going. So I think of the most effective, organizations I've been involved with: Key Club, National Honor Society, Akron Hope. Whenever I step into my position, the people who are ahead of me, the people who are leading me, always say, "This is what I have, this is what is expected of you. This is what I want you to do for the future. This is what the year looks like." And I think modeling the way really it provides an important structure, and it really talks about where the motivation is for the group. So I think that's really important. As a leader, how can I develop this practice more? I think of practical things. So I'm an outreach chair for Zips for Akron Hope, which is a student org on campus. And one thing I think I can do better to model the way is really just perform meetings. I think about what I'm going to talk about, mediate on my goals, reflect and have these thoughts going through my head, so that, and another important thing is just writing these thoughts down so that when I'm in meetings or when I'm communicating with students or when I'm planning outreach events, I know exactly where I want my focus to be, and I can communicate these things with individuals in my committee, and I can, make it clear what the expectation is, where we're going from here, how can we make things better. So all these things I think just really relate to modeling the way, and these are just practical things I can do to improve that. How do my strengths contribute to this practice? I really think organization, details, and just being as descriptive as possible. So I'm very, my number one topic is a blue, and so communication is big with me. And so I think that effectively communicating is really something that can help contribute to the development of this practice. Also just being detailed, always being prepared. These are things that are very important values to me. So these things really can help me develop this practice of modeling the way. On the flip side, the hardest practice to develop, I believe, is encouraging the heart. So, how can I use my strengths to develop this more? I can use my communication and collaboration skills to encourage others and motivate them. So I think the way I interact with people is very good, and I think that using these skills, and just kind of being open to my surroundings will help me identify the things that people are doing well, and be able to really look for ways to encourage people, whether that's just doing something simple like holding the door, or telling them to keep their head up, or just little short phrases, or if it's being intentional, if it's writing letters to people, or looking just for any possible way to encourage people. So why is this the most difficult for me? I think this is the most difficult for me because it's really identifying people's weaknesses and strengths, and then looking for ways to encourage them in the appropriate ways. I want to be able to feel like I am respecting people, and that's just, it's hard to, you have to really know the person and focus in on them to discuss to find out if what's the appropriate way to praise them. And I look at a couple of the commitments from these chapters, and expecting the best and personal recognition. And this is tough for me. How do I set the standard of what is the best, and how do I do that personal recognition? These are things that are really difficult for me. And so who is a leader or influential person in my life that exemplifies this, and how can I learn from them? So two people really come to mind, and that's my parents, my mom and my dad. And these are people that really, they really encourage the heart in a great way. So my dad has a lot of responsibility at work. He's an engineer for Babcock and Wilcox in Barberton, Ohio, and he manages a lot of people. But his big thing is he is so good at communicating with other people. He is so friendly and he's so easy to talk to, and he is so good at just talking to people, mentoring them, and he's able to tell people what they need to do to be better. He's so good at talking to me about how I can improve myself as a person, getting involved, and he's good at telling me you know what I need to do to better myself, and how to do well in school, and he's just so good at doing that. And my mom, on the other hand, is really involved in her church, and she is a small group leader and a mentor, and she sits down with people almost weekly to talk about things that are happening in their life. And so she does a great job of praising people, but also she's good at recognizing and telling people in the appropriate way what they need to do better, if it's in their relationship in church or things going on in their life in general. So my parents both do a really great job, especially with me, telling me on things that I need to improve on as a person and the things I'm doing well, and they know the appropriate ways to do so. And one thing I think I can learn from them that they both share in common is just loving others. And, this is so important, but it's just something that I've seen them demonstrate my entire life, loving others. And this is really, really good and really applies to leadership, because you need to love all people. And if you love all people, then you're going to find ways to encourage them. You're going to get to know them better, and you're going to learn the things they're good at and the things they need to improve on. So loving others really is just it's a really important, crucial, basic, universal thing that I think everyone in the world needs to pick up on and do a better job of. So summarizing this blog post, we have, this practice, the most important practice for me is modeling the way, and the one that's hardest to develop as a leader, encouraging the heart. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and thank you for watching this blog post.